Hey everybody! Welcome to Trek Retrek episode 12, The Menagerie, part 2.
Part due. This is part doo for us.
Yeah.
Do you want to explain that? You just said yeah.
I mean, it barely even got off the ground. We tried this. It didn't work. We're doing it again.
Doing it again.
It's not like Mary, where we recorded the whole episode and realized something was wrong and needed to redo the whole thing.
Yeah.
We just started to record and went, yeah, we can't do this today.
No, we were literally like, this isn't happening. This is rough.
Anyway, I'm Captain Johnny.
I'm Ensign Kayla.
This is Trek Retrek on Geek the F Out. This time I really don't remember if we said that part or not.
No, we did not. And I was about to say, if you haven't watched us before, Johnny has seen everything Trek. I have seen nothing. We're going episode by episode from the beginning. That is the premise. If you haven't watched any of these already, which if you haven't, go back and watch our previous ones, please and thank you.
Yes.
And smack all the things while you're at it.
What she said. So, The Menagerie, Part 2, TVGuide.com says, conclusion. Spock conducts his own defense against a mutiny charge, offering a startling reenactment of his former commander's visit to a forbidden planet. I'll also read IMDb's, because I think I remember saying, like, I didn't read IMDb's because it was a lot more specific. IMDb's summary says, at Spock's court-martial, he explains himself with mysterious footage about when Captain Pike was kidnapped by powerful illusion-casting aliens.
Yeah, that would have been more specific
because, yeah, the illusion casting part. Because it's not like it doesn't take them a long time to get to that, but it's not something that's common knowledge.
Yeah, that's true.
Beginning of the episode.
That's true. Shall we get into it?
Sure. The first thing I have is I thought it was interesting that they used Kirk's log as like in place of the previously on Star Trek. I liked that. They apparently don't ever do it again.
Huh. Interesting. Yeah, I liked that too. And it was like very intense shots with just their faces at the beginning. I was like, this is starting off very intensely.
Yeah.
I don't know if maybe it was when Pike was in there with the aliens. That's just what I'm going to call them.
The Thelosians.
Yeah, the aliens.
The big brain boys.
They fucking look like aliens, okay? I think Pike called it a space vehicle. Someone called it a space vehicle.
What, the Enterprise?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I missed that.
Yeah, which I was like, that's new, right? Has anyone called it a space vehicle? Or why do I feel like we've had this conversation before?
I don't think that we have.
Okay.
Maybe we've had a similar conversation about something else. We had a conversation about there was, I think it was Corbomite maneuver. They referred to it as a United Earth ship.
There we go.
That's the only time that's said.
I think that's what I'm thinking of.
But this is still very early. I mean, was that said by Pike and his crew?
I'm not sure.
If it was, it's because that was the original pilot.
Maybe.
So that was like the first Star Trek that was ever recorded before they went back and made changes and we ended up with Kirk.
Yeah. It definitely wasn't like Kirk and Spock. I just can't remember. It must have been Pike. Because I have it right before weird brain veins moving.
Yeah. They're pulsations when they're thinking at you really hard.
Weird brain veins, butthead aliens. That is what these are. Also, I should have done it this way. Weird brain veins, butthead aliens. They have butts on the back of their heads. It's like Slimer's butt.
Well, that's a descriptor.
It's like Slimer's butt on the back of their heads.
Slimer's got a booty. He's packing.
Rockin' everywhere. We're starting off real strong.
Yeah, this is great. Then the next note I have is that Vina is not a great actress.
No. I have several notes that it's that I'm like, her dramatic acting is real bad. Real bad.
You know what it makes me think of? Now I'm just making the connection. I wonder if she was a soap opera actress, because it feels like soap opera acting.
Oh my god, she totally gives that vibe. She probably did. Because yeah, I say LOL literal buttheads. And then my next line is, what was that random face she made before she ran away? Like when she's telling him to like come hurry, and she like looks back and like makes this one like face and then runs away.
I know what you're talking about, but I didn't take note of the face that she made.
I think I saw it the first time, and after that I could not fucking unsee it.
Could not unsee it.
It's just funny. I need to find a screenshot, and then we can insert here.
Okay.
This way. No, this way. Point. And then the light reflects off the disco ball. Do you know that reference?
No, I don't.
Transformers. It's when he's trying to in the car, and he's like, so the light reflects off the disco ball to try to like show off his muscles to Megan Fox, because I mean I would do the same thing because it's Megan Fox. Nope.
It's been so long since I've watched that one.
That was like a bisexual awakening for me, so I have vivid memories of it.
I can't blame you for
that. It's Megan Fox. Anyways,
I'm looking at the actress's name is Susan Oliver. That's her stage name. She's in a lot of shit. So she must not have been that bad of an actress. But yeah, wow. Wikipedia only has a selected filmology, but she was in. It's all TV. It looks like it's all TV.
Were they soap operas?
She was in a lot. Not that I can see. And it looks like she was really only ever like in one or two episodes of each series that she was in. She was on MASH. Oh, she was a director. She wasn't in it. She directed an episode.
That's cool. Good for her. Love to see that.
Is there anything else that is notable? Gunsmoke. Yeah. So interesting. Anyway,
fun facts. Love those.
Yeah.
Fun facts.
The next bit I have is about the briefing. I don't know if you have anything before that.
I have the Viking caveman. You're not going to mention the Viking caveman?
No, I didn't write it down. I remember
whole
it.
Battle.
Yeah.
It was weird. It was real weird.
Yeah.
But it was entertaining as fuck. Don't get me wrong. We may make these comments about the episode or like different scenes and stuff, but it does not mean it's not entertaining. That is for sure.
No, definitely. Yeah. This, we'll talk about it more too, but these two episodes in particular are interesting in their execution.
And especially because when Pike stabs him, he kind of like falls on the sword, but then when you see him on the ground, there's no other side of the sword. They kind of forgot about that. And then after that happens, I think it's when they come back to reality out of the illusion that she gives him the weirdest hug. She kind of like puts her arms around his neck and like clasps her hands or something and just goes like leans into him, and I'm like, the fuck is this weird hug you're doing? It's so weird. Like, just do a normal hug. Why do you have to, like, I don't know. Do you not remember that, or is that just me?
No, I remember it. Yeah, I think that's the part where I wrote about her not being a great actress. I think it
Probably.
was her lines during that part that just felt like didn't feel right. I
Yeah.
guess I don't know.
And I don't know if the briefing is next or I think it is next, and then when they're talking more and she starts to get punished, I think that's after it, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so go,
Mm-hmm.
you can talk about the briefing.
I thought it was really interesting because we have number one there, who is the first officer. The doctor is Dr. Boyce, and then like the other dude that I think is essentially Sulu for the pilot
Mm-hmm.
is Jose Tyler. I thought the briefing was interesting. I would have liked to. It's interesting to think about how the show would have shaped up if that pilot had been picked up and they hadn't changed the
Yeah.
cast and characters the way they did. Like,
I do like
how would the
that
show have been
cast.
received?
I like number one. She's awesome. And Pike is pretty hot.
Number one is Majel Barrett, who is also Nurse Chapel. It's the same actress.
No wonder. I'm
But
stupid.
her delivery and her cadence is really weird sometimes, and I don't know if it was like that she was not comfortable with the character, or if it was like
Yeah.
a specific choice to deliver her lines that way. Some of them seem really like, for lack of a better term, and I don't know if it's correct, wooden delivery. But then there's
Like
other times
monotone.
where I'm like, yeah, and there's other times where it's better.
I took it as her just being very serious.
Yeah.
But yeah, because yeah, you're right. She was very monotone, but I just took it as her being very serious. Is that all you have for the briefing part?
Yeah, I just thought it was an interesting combination of characters, and I would have liked to see. I would be interested to see what the show would have looked like if that had been the crew.
Mm-hmm.
If they hadn't replaced them with Bones and Kirk, and they'd gone forward with that cast and crew, what the show would have looked like.
Totally. I agree. Would have been very interesting. But yeah, when it's back to Pike and Vina, and she's getting punished, Pike is just sitting there. He does not care one fucking bit. When she's like writhing around in pain, he's just like sitting there doing absolutely nothing.
Is that after he tells her she's not real? Like, after he tells her she's not even real?
I can't remember. It's all
Because,
a blur at this point.
yeah. Because he says something about that. He says something about her, like, not even being real. And because I have written down, I'm like, she never said she wasn't real.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she said, I can be anything you want me to be.
Mm-hmm.
I'm as real as you want me to be. She never, like, confirmed or came out and said that she was not real.
Yeah. Because, I mean, it seemed like by the end of things that it was confirmed that she was also a human, right? Because that was the whole point of getting the two humans to start a whole new human slave race for them. Yeah, but it's funny because I thought the same thing too. I was like, oh, is she just like a figment that they're also giving this illusion of? That's why she's saying she can be anything. But I think, obviously we know now that what you just said, that she just, I can be whoever you want me to be to appease you, because gotta always appease the man.
Unfortunately, that's the kind of stuff you get in when men are in charge of making the shows, and it's the 60s.
Yeah. It's fine.
That is like the definition of male gaze and
Yes.
the male fantasy, right?
And
Like,
by gaze, we mean Gaze. Is that how you spell
yes,
gaze? Not the gaze. We
yes,
love the gaze. Um,
confirmed.
yes. A nourishing protein complex? Question mark to help him procreate? Question
Oh,
mark.
maybe.
That's how I took it. They're like, we're giving you a nourishing protein complex. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. It'll make your swimmers very strong.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Say no more.
Yeah. Um. Oh. When he says this to Vina, you were like a wild little animal.
Yeah.
That was an interesting line. And that's when he's explaining to her that he liked her from the first time he saw her, right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. He's like, you're a wild little animal. I'm like, I don't know if that's a compliment.
Exactly. Okay, my next notes are about the poison ivy slash green giant broccoli scene.
Yes. Green Vina had some claws. Like, she had some really long fake nails on. I don't know if you noticed. I figured you would have.
Did notice. I don't know. I was looking at her splotchy green makeup or so. It wasn't that bad. It was just like they painted her whole face green and then just put like lipstick, maybe filled her eyebrows in and did mascara. There was no like depth or dimension to her face that just threw me off, because usually when you still paint someone's face a certain color, you still contour it, or at least contour your eyeballs. So it was kind of throwing me off. And then, yeah, it was a little bit patchy. But that's just
makeup tips with Kayla.
Yes.
Here
I actually don't think I wrote down anything about Spock's makeup. And then we didn't see Uhura in this episode, so that didn't matter. But that must have meant that it was pretty good if I did not note Spock's pointy ears or makeup.
Yeah, and he's the focus of, like, Pike too, but aside from Pike, Spock's the focus of both episodes.
Yes.
So.
He is. I must have wrote this down weird, because I put, wouldn't you day it's worth a man's soul.
Oh, that was one of the comments they made about when Pike was in, like, that fantasy with Vina as an Orion slave girl.
Yeah.
I think it was, wouldn't you say it's worth a man's soul?
Wouldn't you say it's worth a man's soul? Yep, this is my bad keyboard that hates me coming through. But I did like Pike's blue and purple shiny outfit with the gold belt that he wore for this. I thought it was cool looking.
Yeah, there was some interesting costuming in that sequence.
My next bit is when they beam down the women. Do you have anything before that?
No.
No? Okay.
No.
I don't think
I'm just
there is
laughing
anything.
because they're like, the women!
Yes! The women!
Which I have in favorite lines and moments. It's just so ridiculous.
It is. The women! But yeah, when they come down and then Kirk just rips open her shirt. It's to get to her phaser, but he or not
Pike, you mean? You said it, not Kirk. Pike.
Pike, same. Yeah, just rips open her shirt to grab the phaser. I was like, at first I was like, the fuck is happening here? Are you just openly harassing her? And then yeah, he grabs the phaser, which once again, it's another one of the like in Miri, when he pulls up her sleeve, like, how did you know it was there? Which I'm granted, with the phasers, they must all keep them in the same spot, I'm guessing.
Yeah, because that was like an excursion jacket over her normal uniform,
Yeah.
so I'm sure he knew where the phaser holster inside
And
was.
that she had clothes on underneath it.
Yeah.
I need to save this line for later. Okay.
Which that's when the Telosians start talking about like both number one and shit. What was the?
Now there's a fine choice for intelligent offspring. Fucking Vina was savage.
She was so pissed.
She was like, they'd have more luck crossing him with the computer. So many good lines. There's actually a lot of good lines in this episode that I wrote down. I probably could have saved those, but you know, that's fine. Mentioning them now.
I found what I was looking for.
Did you?
Yes, Yeoman J.M. Colt. Laurel Goodwin is the actress. Yeoman J.M. Colt is the one that beams down with number 1 to Talos 4. They start talking about, like, the Telosians are like, she is interested but thinks you're out of reach. And then I forget what they said about number 1, but it's like, guys, unethical. Like, don't be probing people's minds and then tattling on them.
Yep. The next thing I have, so there's the great lines of, I just said it, but I'll say them again. Now there's a fine choice for intelligent offspring, and they'd have more luck crossing him with a computer. These lines, whoever wrote them, just savage. Fucking savage. So good. So good.
Oh, that's what Vina was saying about Colt and number 1 when the Telosians talked about the kind of offspring they would produce.
Yep. And then I always want to say Kirk Pike says, "Is your blood red like ours? I'm gonna find out." I was like, ooh, you're so hard. He's trying to cut the whole time when he's trying to like break through the glass. It's exactly what they're saying, like trying to show you know, his strength or whatever. I was just like, typical Y chromosome. And then I think it's the aliens that are saying, oh yeah, they say it about Colt. They say she has unusually strong female drives. And I said, sex drives? What's so unusual about women being horny? Sheesh.
It was the 60s. It wasn't allowed.
I know. It's still not allowed. How dare you?
Fair. Yeah. God forbid.
God forbid people are people.
God forbid all sexes and genders are into the thing that literally propagates our entire race.
The most natural part of life, and yet it is taboo, especially for women. Shucks. Oh, I'm canceled now. Darn. Anyways, I
mean, if the ship is sinking, I'm sinking with you, so I don't give a fuck.
Yep. The next part I have is, oh shit, he's guilty. So do you have anything before Spock is guilty?
No, actually, most of the other stuff that I have written down is like specific lines and moments for favorite lines and moments.
Okay.
I don't really have any other general episode thoughts.
Excuse me. I thought it was really funny how, when they've escaped, or they thought they've escaped and they're on the surface and they're like, well, you wouldn't make good slaves anyways because you don't like being held captive. You, even when it's pleasant and benevolent. And I was like, when is captivity ever pleasant and benevolent? Never.
Well, that's the point.
Yeah.
We don't think that way. There might be some races out there, that some species of aliens that don't mind being held captive as long as they're treated well. But that's kind of the point. Humans, I know we can't understand it, right? Like, you wouldn't want to be put in a cage. But there might be some alien species out there that literally doesn't give a fuck as long as they're fed and taken care of. They're fine with it. Humans are not.
Clearly.
I do have one thing that we skipped over. When they beamed down to the planet and they were trying to like blow up the entrance to the underground with that big phaser cannon, I just wrote down, I like their goggles. Like whatever they were using for their goggles, I thought they were neat.
Yes, those were cool goggles. They were almost like skydiving goggles.
Yeah, or skiing or was there snowboarding in the 60s?
See, the thing is with skiing or snowboarding, they usually are all like, they're like flat and then it's like thick around, where these were kind of contoured. It's usually just like a singular piece, where like this looked like it was like the plastic was shaped kind of like skydiving goggles are. I only know that because I did indoor skydiving. Okay. I would love to do that, real skydiving one day. So yeah, it's interesting that she turns out to be, you know, older, which I was like, oh, this is like Mud's women when, you know, but it's not the same thing because they're obviously creating the illusion that she's younger, Vina. But similar concept. And then, my last note is, yay, Spock is free, but like, W is free. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, it's been again, and obviously, as is the premise of the show, I've watched all these episodes before. But it has been like over a decade since I've done like a full watch through of this and watched these episodes. So I was like, oh, wait, yeah, he's guilty. How do they get him out of this? And they just happen to get a message from Starfleet. Everything's okay.
It's fine. And we're fine. All good. And
since you were out of notes, I do want to go back because I do think it's funny that we had the whole conversation about like getting canceled and whatnot. I think it's funny that we're having this kind of, I've got my Pearl Jam Planned Parenthood fundraising t-shirt on.
Love.
But see, this is the kind of thing that Star Trek fandom should be all about. Like if you are a fan of Star Trek and something like infinite diversity and infinite combinations or equality no matter what triggers you and you feel the need to type nasty comments, you're in the wrong fandom. Which is my opinion, but I think that's an opinion that's pretty close to fact. But that's just me. Don't be a dick. People
Preach.
Are people.
It is not that hard to be a decent fucking human being and not trying to control other people. Just let them live their fucking lives and not try to pretend like you're not trying to control women by doing other shit.
I was going to say, I guess didn't mean this to turn into a lecture, but like it kind of fits with the episode and captivity and trying to control the way people are.
So
it's thematic. So
100%.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. Okay. Overall, though, I really enjoyed it. Yeah, I was still kind of confused. So basically, the aliens were projecting these memories onto the Enterprise, but Spock was still in cahoots with them to make this happen. Essentially,
that's the impression that I get. Yeah, that he was working with the Talosians to bring Pike to Talos 4. Yeah,
which is so. Yeah, they must have reached out to him and be like, "We want Pike," which, and that's to get Pike to, live out his days not being like that. But if it's still just an illusion, then
I think it's the opposite. I think Spock reached out to Talos 4 because he knew that would be, because remember in part 1 they make a big deal about Pike. He's just as with it mentally as all of us, but he can't do anything but beep yes and no.
Yes.
But on Talos, because of the mental projections and the illusions, the Talosians can act as sort of a relay
Yeah.
a mental relay for Pike's thoughts so he can interact.
That's true.
He'll still actually be sitting in that chair. Just like Vina actually is like deformed from the crash that she was in just after she was born. I think they said, she was born just before the ship crashed on the planet. She was injured. They never saw a human before, didn't know how to put her back together, right? Although, guys, you don't look that different, so medicine was apparently not their forte.
Clearly.
But so I think the intention was Spock realized this would be the only place Pike could go where he could have
that makes more sense.
a semblance of a normal life. He'll still be in the chair. He'll still be wheeling around, but he won't have to beep at people. He can actually talk through the televisions. And I guess feel. I don't know.
That's what I'm wondering. Because if you're still paralyzed and everything, it's just that he must be able to feel.
I'm assuming the Telosians would implant the sensations into his brain, so like he would like feel like the breeze on his legs, even though they're in a fucking chair.
Yeah, that's my assumption, at least.
Yeah.
And then what else was I gonna say? Yeah, it was really good. It was cool because it was a 2-parter, and was very suspenseful, and you're like, fuck, like how is Spock gonna get out of this one? And it was cool to see this other world before. It was very meta because I think I mentioned this last episode. It's very meta with watching this happen, and the Starship Enterprise is watching it happen, and we're watching them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the illusions they made, and like the adventures that they put Pike through, especially the Viking caveman, and then the whole, I don't think we mentioned even the picnic scene with the horse that I guess was his horse.
Yeah, it's
and he's like, oh, I have sugar cubes in my pocket.
Yeah. No, I think we talked about that briefly because that's when I think that's when he said he was interested in her from the start because she was the wild little animal.
Yes. Okay, that's when that was. I couldn't remember when he said that. That makes more sense now. Okay. But yeah, overall, really enjoyed it. Gotta make that clear.
Yeah.
Very entertaining episode. Had me on my toes. Trying to think of other overall thoughts I had. Yeah, it was good. I don't want to say too much because we'll get more into that for ranking. Yeah. Should we do lines, or do you have any other general thoughts?
I don't have any other thoughts, but I asked you last time, like what you thought Spock was up to when he was in the communications room, and I think you said you weren't sure. You had no fucking idea.
Yes, that's exactly what I said.
What do you think about where it ended up going with it? Like, was there any point where you're like, oh, this is what's happening?
No.
No.
Usually I can figure it out, but I was thinking, maybe if anything, I was thinking maybe they were trying to, like, they're, what's the word? Not brainwashing. Bribing? Not bribing either. Blackmailing. There we go. Blackmailing Spock into getting Pike for them. Like, it wasn't Spock's idea. I thought that's maybe what was happening, but like I didn't know that I didn't know the ultimate goal, or that like it was Spock really behind it. So yeah, they had me there. I feel like next time if I watched it again, I would be like, oh, there were signs from the beginning. Maybe. I don't know. I feel like it wasn't that obvious though, was it?
Yeah, it's
You're
not
like, yeah.
super obvious, but I think when you watch through it a second time, you'll get hints. Because I think there was something in the first episode, part 1, where Spock was like, "I have no choice," and I don't remember if he said it's your only chance or something to that effect. I might be inserting that into my memory myself.
Insert here.
But yeah, there's when you know what's going on, you can definitely see why Spock is doing what he's doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And why, like, he says he has no choice. It's not because he's being blackmailed by anybody. It's because he's still loyal to Pike.
Yes.
And
exactly.
Spock doesn't feel like he has any choice.
Yeah. Yeah, because I don't know what else he could do to help him.
Yeah.
So lines?
Yeah, favorite moments and lines.
Okay. Go.
You will now consume the nourishment. I just thought it was ridiculous.
The other phrases that the aliens had were pretty funny. I have another one from them that's the intelligence of this specimen is shockingly limited.
Yeah, was that was about
Pike.
That was about Pike.
Mm-hmm.
One of the lines I was almost too real for the world. Wrong thinking is punishable. Right thinking is just as quickly rewarded. That depends on what your definition of right and wrong thinking are. It was the first time I don't remember if it was when they punished Vina in front of Pike the first time, or if it was when they punished, I think it was when they punished Vina. They were like, wrong thinking is punishable, right thinking is just as quickly rewarded.
Yeah. Also very interesting that real quick, I just thought of this, that their primitive thoughts were what blocked them from reading their minds, which I guess checks out, but I was like, what exactly defines primitive? Like,
I think it's
like any kind of emotion, or just very strong ones.
I would lean towards base instinctual, like negative, what we consider negative, like anger, obviously, like hate. I don't know if fear would be one.
Loathe entirely.
Yeah.
Sneak preview to what comes ahead. Yeah, and then you were like a wild little animal. That was another one. Wouldn't you say it's worth a man's soul? Yeah, the two savage lines from Vina. And then what's that other line? I think that was it, actually. Go ahead.
So I have when they're talking about the Orion slave girl, and they're like, no human male can resist them, and it cuts back to Kirk, and he's just got this look on his face that's like, yep.
Yes. I noticed that too. I was like, damn, Kirk, like, you horn dog, you. He's a funny one.
And then
that was a good moment, that whole dancing green giant poison ivy scene. That was good. That was probably one of my favorite moments / scenes.
The other one that I have is I wrote Cliff Notes, and now I don't remember the entire quote. Let me see if it's printed on. Memory Alpha. It has to be one of the. I want to talk to you. The regrettable tendency you've been showing lately towards flagrant emotionalism. Flagrant emotionalism. And Spock's like, I see no reason to insult me, sir. I believe I've been completely logical about the whole affair.
Yeah, that was good.
A little bit of Kirk teasing Spock there.
Because, yeah, I mean, anyone that actually knows him can see that he has some emotions because he is half human. It was felt very playful. I really liked that exchange between them two, because Spock's like, well, obviously I have emotions. But how dare you like assume that I do.
And there was one more I had before that when Kirk was like, you could have come to me and explained, and Spock said, ask you to face the death penalty too? One of us was enough, Captain.
Ay.
But it all worked out in the end.
Yes, it did. Okay. I think is that all you got?
That's all I got for favorite lines and moments.
Okay.
Which would bring us to, if you don't have anything else, then it's time for That's What They Said.
'Tis. You still have them, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I think I have them. I think these are. I'll know when you read the first one.
Okay. I have a lot for the next episode, but this one is a good amount. You have no choice, sir.
Come. Hurry.
No. No. Redo that.
I don't.
Redo.
What?
You need to redo it. It's like,
why?
There has to be a long space in between.
Oh.
Come.
Sorry. Okay.
Come. Hurry.
Okay.
You can say it however you want, but you got to space it out. At least space it out like she did.
Sorry. My mistake. Go ahead. Do your next one.
Damn it. Fine. Don't say it that way. Let me please you.
Yes. You can please me.
Increase to full power. The vibrator.
Can you give us any more?
You can't keep it up for long enough. I've tried.
Here, I'll do it for you. Come. Hurry. No. Let me finish.
Perfect.
Oh, goodness. So that was your That's What They Said.
Yes.
For the Menagerie, part 2.
Yep.
So that will bring us to our spoilers without context.
Yes.
So we will bring my spoilers without context up on the screen.
Yep.
And I mean, if you've watched, I think for all of these, if you watch the episode, they're pretty self-explanatory. But
still gotta explain them.
First, we've got
a cage,
an empty zoo cage, because the menagerie, the cage.
Which I did not know what a menagerie was until I watched this.
No?
I'm sure I've heard that word before, but I was just like, I thought of it as an illusion. That's what I thought menagerie was, which kind of similar concept.
They're merging them. It's an illusory menagerie. Speaking of illusions, illusion, Michael. Mystery and illusion. And then the scene with the Orion slave girl and Pike dressed basically as a sultan. I had to do Jasmine and Jafar from Aladdin.
That's good. That's a good one.
And then Vina's true form revealed. I had to do the Hunchback of Notre Dame. Didn't mean to make 2 Disney references, but I did.
It's okay. We love Disney. So that's great. Yeah, her face did look not good.
And the
hunch.
shoulder. Also, now that I'm thinking about it, I could have used Yennefer of Vengerberg from The Witcher before she becomes a mage.
Yeah. And then suddenly gets very hot.
Similar... Yeah.
Even though she was already very hot. All right. Mine? Me turn?
Yes, we will. My brain broke there. I was thinking of Yennefer, and I think it went other places. Anyway,
fair.
We will put up Kayla's spoilers without context on the screen. Take it away.
So we have the OA. If anyone's seen that show, it's really good. But she's trapped in a glass cage. And then Poison Ivy, because Vina looked like Poison Ivy in that green getup. And then the Grinch, when he's like, hate, double hate, loathe entirely. With Pike's, rage emotions he had to have. And then the alien from Independence Day, since they were, telepathically talking to Pike without actually speaking. So it made me think of that scene where he's telepathically talking with the president.
Gotcha.
Yep. That's it.
Good choices, as
Thank
always.
You too.
Thank you. So that'll do it with spoilers. That will do it for spoilers without context.
Yep.
We need to backtrack a little bit because we skipped over episode facts and trivia from Memory Alpha. So let's do that.
Cool.
This is the only episode, and I said this a little bit at the beginning. This is the only episode of any Star Trek series which uses a captain's log to recap the events of the previous episode in a story arc. All others use a more traditional previously on type of recap, which I would have liked to have seen more of that. I think it was a cool way to do it.
I liked it
shame
too.
that they don't, because they're uniquely set up to do it, because I don't know if too many others, I'm sure there's other shows that used journals or things like that to, like, for voiceovers, but Star Trek in particular has always had the captain's log narration, and it's a good way to do it. I don't know. In a deleted scene, yes, thank you. I'm glad you agree. In a deleted scene from this episode, McCoy and Scott explain to Kirk how they figured out which computer bank Spock tampered with to lock the ship on course. They took perspiration readings on all banks, and since Spock's sweat has copper in it, traces of copper were found in the sweat.
Smart.
Yeah.
Smart.
That's why Vulcans are green-blooded, because their blood is copper-based instead of iron-based.
Fair.
DeForest Kelley, James Doohan, and George Takei do not appear in this episode. McCoy and Scotty both had their scenes cut, as previously mentioned. They had a deleted scene.
Yep.
Nichelle Nichols does not appear on screen, but does have several voiceover lines at the end of the episode, along with What Are Little Girls Made Of and another episode we haven't got to yet. This is one of only 3 episodes after the 2 pilots in which DeForest Kelley does not appear. And then finally, along with part 1 of the Menagerie, this episode won the 1967 Hugo Award for Best Dramatic Presentation.
Nice. I mean, it was dramatic. I'll give it that. The drama was there.
It was good too.
The suspense was there. It's good. Real good.
It was a good episode of
solid
Star Trek and just TV in general, I think.
Yeah. This is Star Trek 101, ladies and gentlemen, and days.
Which will bring us to ranking the episode.
Yes.
So, Ensign Kayla, how do you rank the Menagerie, part 1 and 2? We're ranking these together because they are a set.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really think you can rank them separately.
No.
I
don't know what I'm gonna rank it.
I feel like that's a disingenuous comment.
It is, because it's obviously Captain. at least for me.
Okay.
Yes, it
What
was
are
really
your
good.
reasons for giving
Um,
it Captain?
I feel like I've heard so much about these two episodes, like, oh, the Menagerie, like that's like a big deal. Um, and also, yeah, like it was completely different than any of the other episodes. It's two-parter, very suspenseful. Like it was really good. All the acting was good. Um, yeah, it was just a solid episode of Trek, I would say. Um, yeah, lots of good lines, lots of like funny anecdotes. I feel like if there aren't those, I'm not gonna like it. Like if it was just like a plain cut and dry episode, like all the fever dreams that they give Pike are just great. Yeah. And I feel like it's very watchable, but yeah, you gotta watch them together, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
um yeah. Yeah, that's about it.
Okay. I will also give the Menagerie Parts 1 and 2 a rank Captain. I think, like, for many of the same reasons you said. Like, it's just a good episode. It's two good episodes. It's a good story. It gives a lot of insight into Spock.
Yep.
It's neat to see Pike and his crew who were on the Enterprise before Kirk got it.
Yep.
It is interesting for the future of Star Trek with Pike being on Discovery and Strange New Worlds, because up until Pike showed up on Discovery a couple of years ago, like this was the only thing with his character. There may have been novels or comic books or something where they did stuff with Pike, but in fact I think there is, because I know that there's stuff about Number One that was explored in a novel, so I assume there have to be novels about Pike's Enterprise.
Okay. Interesting.
But that's why we talked about making sure we got to this episode and watched it before we even discussed whether or not we wanted to do anything with Strange New Worlds.
That's fair.
Because I think it's important to have, because we talked a little bit about this, like, and that's part of the reason why we talked about doing things in production order, because Star Trek kind of assumes you've seen what's already happened, what's already aired, even if it's in the future, timeline-wise, because there's callbacks to things, and it might make the viewing experience different if you're seeing something. And I don't know if it would be something where you'd be like, I'm confused, what the F are they talking about, or if you'd be like, oh, that's neat, I want to see more of this.
Yeah.
But I think the way that the show is made and presented, it assumes that you have knowledge of things that aired previously that might not happen until the future in the timeline. Okay. So that's why I wanted to get to this episode and watch it before we talked about anything with Strange New Worlds.
Makes sense.
But yeah, so we give the Menagerie Parts 1 and 2 a unanimous rank of Captain. Good job, Menagerie.
Good job.
Well done.
Well done. Pat pat. You get a pat pat.
So that will bring us to our next episode, which is The Conscience of the King.
Yes.
I apparently am losing my ability to speak, and we've got another episode to record. IMDb.com says, while Captain Kirk investigates whether an actor is actually a presumed dead mass murderer, a mysterious assailant is killing the people who could identify the fugitive. Oh, gee, I wonder who it might be. I don't think the mysterious assailant is that mysterious if you're investigating someone who might be a presumed dead mass murderer. If they are the mass murderer.
Guess we'll have to find out.
Seems like it's an awful coincidence that you think this person might be a presumed dead mass murderer, and suddenly people are being attacked. I'm going off the rails. Anyway, that's the next episode. Yes. The Conscience of the King. So thanks, everybody, for joining us this week.
Thank y'all. Thank y'all for coming. Make sure to smack that like, smack that subscribe, smack that bell icon. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram and the new Threads, which is now just came out as we are recording this. They are all at GTFO channel. If you want to email us, that is channelgtfo@gmail.com. Yeah, and you'll get all the updates on those places. And if you have any Star Trek memes or spoilers without context memes, feel free to send those in to us and we will share them in our stories. And yeah, you can follow me. I'm at Silver K with 3 Ys on everything if you want to, but follow the channel. The channel is more interesting.
Yeah. If you want to follow me, I'm Lucha Johnny. The only thing you'll really see is diced thespian stuff.
And Geek the F Out stuff.
I mean, yeah, all I do is share the stuff you post. So just follow the
channel.
Follow the GTFO account. I'll have to start putting threads in the video description.
Okay.
And I was going to say something and then I forgot what it was. Oh, as of recording, also, we've done this in various places, but hey, we're at 100 subscribers.
Yeah.
So
Yay.
That's kind of cool.
Thank you.
100 people like us.
I don't know if they like us, but 100
people
subscribe to us.
Are subscribed, whether they like us or they just want to complain to us about what we think of Star Trek. That's their right, but they're wrong.
It's fine. We all have our own opinions.
Yes, I'm kidding.
But let's be honest, there are some things that are just not okay in this world in general that go beyond opinions.
Yeah, there are, not to continue to get too far off the rails, but there are things.
We're there.
And again, this is just my opinion. I'm just one dude on the internet. I don't matter. But
you matter.
I have seen some takes from in the grand scheme of things of the universe. I mean, I matter to the people I know, which I'm thankful for, and they matter to me. But in the grand scheme of history in the universe, no, not so much.
You never know.
I'm a realist.
You never know.
I have seen some really questionable takes from people who are passionate about Star Trek, so it just kind of makes me scratch my head because what the fuck have you been watching all this time?
I really hope it comes down to people haven't watched it in a while, and I think if you do rewatch these episodes again, you'll see a lot of the things we've been talking about. Because, I mean, A? Why did it start with E?
Skipping right to number 5 there.
Yeah, what the fuck? A, could have been a long time. B, could have watched it as a kid. C, could have watched it like passively and not really paid attention. There's a lot of details that maybe if you aren't paying the closest attention you would miss, or just different lens of a different time period. Sure. Well, once again, doesn't make it okay. Doesn't make pedophilia okay. That is one of the things. And you can't, sure, it was a different time period. It was fucking almost 60 years ago. But at the same time, yeah, not okay. Plain and simple. Anyways, let's get the fuck out of here. We are done geeking the fuck out. So yeah, peace and long life, y'all.
Live long and prosper. I did the nanu nanu instead for some reason. Bye.